security dilemma balance. In other words, if two people are fighting, you don't go and disarm one person and leave the other. We have seen situations where a particular militant complained that the reason why he took up arms was because the arms he laid down was being used by another faction. It happened. It was on record. Individuals and collective reintegration, focusing on the psychological transition of the individual, not just the group. Each individual may have his own psychological problems, so you have to focus, that's what they are saying there, tailoring the radicalization in the Northeast to individual and ideological shifts. And I think they are doing a good job in the Operation Safe Corridor. In Rwanda too, one of the lessons is that they use local traditional justice system to facilitate forgiveness. So there is need for us to look into some of our local justice systems. There's hardly any of our local communities that don't have a way of dealing with certain issues. So we can see how we can key into some of these local justice systems. Some people have used it and it has worked for them, and today they are living in harmony. So these are part of the lessons, global lessons learned. Now, what are the strategies for effective implementation in Nigeria? The first one I have here is develop a national DDR policy framework that will harmonize all DDR-related initiatives and align with integrated disarmament, demolition, and reintegration standards. Well, the good thing is that I'm aware work has been done in this area. The document has been produced and I think also validated, but it's yet to be signed. So I think we are on course in this aspect. Then establish a transitional justice structures and processes after a comprehensive perception survey of both victims and perpetrators. One thing with local transitional justice system is that once an ex-combatant is willing to take part in it, that ex-combatant is showing that he's ready to be part and parcel of that community. And once the community accepts that ex-combatant will do well. The outcome of this survey will guide the right balance between retributive and restorative justice. Then community-centered reintegration. Very, very important. Whatever we are doing, we must carry the communities along. And I think in this line, recently, National Orientation Agency, they are doing a good job. Because recently I spoke with one ex-combatant. And what he told me that before he went to the community where he settled, that the National Orientation Agency had gone ahead and prepared the community, so they received him and that he had no problem. That was his own testimony. So engage traditional rulers, religious leaders, and promote reconciliation programs. And let me also say this, that in terms of carrying the communities along, International Office for Migration, when I interviewed their head in Operation Safe Corridor, he told me something. He said that they do 2 to 1, that before they give one ex-combatant something, that they must do the same thing for 2 people from the same community. So I think that is an improvement. Then articulate a legal framework that will guide the policy. Legal framework such as an amnesty, a decree or proclamation of the status of disengaging, surrendering, defecting members of insurgent groups, stipulating the framework for their management, eligibility criteria, and transitional justice, amongst others. I'm sure if there is that such legal framework, somebody will not think of suing the federal government, suing Nigeria Army, and suing the Attorney General recently. Then economic empowerment focus is another one. Skills acquisition tailored to local economy. It will be something that they could be able to stand on their own. And I think that is one thing that they are doing in Operation Safe Corridor. Access to microfinance and employment. Okay, strengthen institutional coordination. In Operation Safe Corridor, they have 17 government agencies and they're working together. And my interactions with them show that things are working well. Interagency DDR coordination body, clear rules and accountability. There, they have clear rules and accountability. They integrate DDR with prevention and countering violent extremism, link DDR with preventing and countering violent extremism. They are all somehow integrated, include the radicalization and psychosocial support. This is being done under Operation Safe Corridor. Then it must also be gender-sensitive DDR. Presently, Operation Safe Corridor does not admit females, and they don't admit children. Although by United Nations standard, children are supposed to have a separate DDR. They're supposed to be taken to interim care center. And I think that's what they have done under, they are being handled by UNICEF in a Burunkutu rehabilitation camp in Medigru. But the women are also there too. So Operation Safe Corridor presently does not cater for female, but that is not a standard. That's supposed to be looked into. Support victims and ex-combatants differently. It's not only the ex-combatants that should be supported, victims must be supported too. Well, in the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act 2022, there's a provision for victim trust fund. Victim trust fund. So it's one thing to make such provision. It's another thing for the thing to be functional. As of last time I asked, I was told it has not started functioning. I don't know whether it has started functioning as of today. Another one is monitoring. Another one is monitoring, evaluation, and learning. Monitoring is very, very important. Well, in the Northeast, when I asked question, I was told by the IOM, they have accurate data of all the people that pass out from there from batch 2, that they were not there when batch 1 passed out, and that they have been monitoring them, and that none of them went back, according to them. And the Operation Safe Corridor 2, they also stated the same thing. Then tracked reintegration sources, use data for policy improvement. Although when I asked to see their monitoring and evaluation report, I was not sure. But such thing is very, very important. One of the reasons why Yemen's de-radicalization failed is that there was no monitoring and of ex-combatants. Their passports were not seized, and some of them traveled back to go and fight. So monitoring and evaluation and learning from the report is very, very important. Then, lastly, is public awareness and strategic communication. One of the problems rehabilitation or disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration has is a lack of, is a negative public image. Negative public image. So there must be public awareness and strategic communication to reduce the stigma and promote acceptance. A government at all levels should take steps to address. Another one is that government at all levels should take steps to address the causative factors of the conflict. Because most of the time, a conflict can be visualized as a conflict tree with roots, and then the stem and the branches. So some of the things we are doing, the radicalization, all of this, like treating the branches. If you don't deal with the root, poor governance, and a lot of other things, poverty and the exclusion and many other things that are part of the root causes of armed violence, the thing is bound to resurface. So governments at all levels should take steps to address causative factors. Each of them has its own factors. Niger Delta has their own factors, why these things happen in the first place. So dealing with those things and not just allowing things to continue and only deal with the branches is very, very important. So in conclusion, I said disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration is essential for sustainable peace in Nigeria. And we say reintegration is the most critical success factor. And community ownership determines long-term outcomes. So Nigeria must adopt a coordinated, well-funded, and inclusive disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration strategy. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I think the congratulations can just go around. Thank you very much, Major Pala. I know you won't be able to see us clapping for you, so you just as you take it from about 40 people online clapping for you and appreciating your wealth of experience. I'm sure the presentation is also going to generate a lot of questions. I'm glad to I know there's one ancestor in peace building that also has joined us, Professor Isaac Albert from the University of Ibadan. He has just boarded a flight and said once he gets on ground, he will make his contribution. And Dr. Gaba Bari, the Director General or former Director General of the National Orientation Agency. We have a lot of issues. Major has given us global definitions and the way we also approach DDR locally. He has introduced some of the work done in Nigeria from the civil war, the Niger Delta, the insurgency that is ongoing, and also criminality across the country, and the role DDR can play both during violent conflicts and after violent conflicts. I know there are a lot of issues around concerns around this, whether DDR should be post or during or even pre. These are things that we expect that stakeholders can generate questions so we can all look at it and how beneficial some of these issues are. I know there are some retired generals also on this platform. There are some serving generals, I've seen them, and also other security agencies. Weapons laid down, used by others. These are things that I've also experienced as a former camp DDR commandant, that sometimes can affect people laying down their weapons because they are not sure if the package is total, if it's not collecting weapons from a particular group and allowing other groups to exist, whereby making them defenseless. The local justice system, we will have to look at that, the different justice system. I don't know if we're looking at that topic around in this present discussion, but we will have to employ all the other justice system, transformative, transitional, criminal justice system, and all the other justice systems available for us to heal our community. So there's a lot I've written, but I think I'm sure you all have the notes. Let me throw the discussion open. If you have any question, if you can indicate, I can call you, but there are no specific ways of asking questions. So we are taking questions, we are also taking contributions, and we also need suggestions on how this program can be improved. There are several ways that we can channel some of these reports to appropriate authorities. DDR is forming in Nigeria, so there's no one way. I told you during the introduction that I know of a group of people at the National Counterterrorism Center that are working on developing a policy framework that can guide everyone in this. So please, the floor is open.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Please introduce yourself.
Good morning.
Yes, and you have the floor.
Please, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Lagunjo, retired.
Colonel, sir, good morning. Welcome.
Thank you very much, sir.
You have the floor.
There's something I want to observe. These in carrying out a DDR, take for instance, like these are maybe our present society now. Maybe let me give you a specific example. Like let's say Niger State in Mina, that you have a perceived issue that people are carrying maybe not necessarily arms as in small arms, but maybe dangerous weapons. You understand? Which type of DDR tools can you apply to be able to mop up those kind of weapons from the society? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. It's community violence reduction and reintegration support. You can call it any name to capture what you want to do. Take, for example, in Ebony State, they had a situation where the community equipped their vigilante, and then later the army collected the weapons from the vigilante, and the government decided to do something for the vigilante. So in that case, you are not talking about reintegration because the vigilante are already part and parcel of the society. They are living with them. They are defending them. So what they called it was skill acquisition and reorientation. The reorientation is to make them not to continue to see the other people as enemy. I went there, delivered lectures for them, and at the end, the government organized, and each of them was given 2 million to start their own life. So it depends on the context. When you look at those people, are they part and parcel of the society? If they are part and parcel of the society, in that case, we're not talking about, are they being driven by an ideology? Is it poverty? So these are some of the things you consider. And depending on what you want to achieve, that is exactly what will make you to. So the first thing is to carry out an analysis of the whole thing and then know what is going there and what you intend to achieve. Based on what you intend to achieve, that is what will make you to coin out the right words you are going to use.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Lieutenant Colonel.
Hello?
Yes, Lieutenant Colonel, is that all?
That's all from me.
Okay, just also the legal aspects. It's also important to when carrying out this DDR. Of course, when it comes to amnesty program, the governor must, introduce this aspect for a state or the president for a nation. There must be a permission for things like that to be carried out so that security agencies will be at ease to do this activity locally. I don't know if there's any other contribution.
I have.
Yes, sir. Please introduce yourself.
Okay. My name is Dr. Steve Okwori. I am a security consultant and I also lecture at the Nigerian Army University in Biu, Borno State. Yes, excellent delivery by the major retired. And I love the way he said that he's aware that this topic has a lot of issues and all that. We are talking about a non-kinetic approach here in addressing insecurity issues, you know. And for me, using the non-kinetic is a way to go, but as a person, as an individual, I have never supported this policy of having situations where we have repentant terrorists that have been forgiven and they are asked to go back into the society, to go back, reintegrate back into the society that they have ravaged. These are a set of persons or people that have turned children to orphans, turned women to widows, men to widowers, and they have even gone to the extent of having societies or some communities from existing. The major mentioned where he said that in the event where they are not given livelihood or they are left without livelihood, it leads to some security problems or it leads to some security implications. Here we are talking about people that have killed people. We're talking about sustaining them, giving them livelihoods. And we're not talking about the victims. The victims have been displaced. Some live within Nigeria, some have gone outside the shores of this country to live because of insecurity or fear. Their livelihoods taken away from them as a result of selling their livelihoods to have monies or resources to pay ransom for their loved ones and all that. We're not talking about the victims. Some of them are kept in IDP camps, languishing in pains. These are able-bodied Nigerians that were going about their lawful businesses, that some deviants have decided to turn their lives around. So, wherein lies injustice for victims now? When recently we saw where 744 repentant Boko Haram members wore Ashwebi, they all wear uniforms and co. They were celebrating them. And we never saw where victims were pampered in such a manner. So my question here is, there's community resistance. We're talking about reintegration. In a situation where there's community resistance, this community knows that these people are the people that caused all this havoc to them. You want them to come back into the society, and the community is resisting this. What now happens? What now happens to them? You know? So I think that the best thing to do for me, because all this is not serving as deterrence, we are seeing more and more of Boko Haram activities. They are killing civilian population, they are killing our soldiers, killing our military and all that. It's not still serving as deterrent. I think I would toe the path of Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, where he said that it is his responsibility to send terrorists to God, but it's not his responsibility to forgive them. So forgiveness is for God alone, right? Because we must have to be serious about addressing insecurity issues, particularly Boko Haram, terrorism. When terrorism started in 2009, Boko Haram was the particular primary threat. But here we have seen splinter groups, faction. There's ISWAP, Mahmuda, and all that. They are very deadly as we speak. Look at the havoc they are causing in the Northeast and all that. And they're also expanding their network. You know, so I think that this policy that was brought on board in 2018 under late President Muhammadu Buhari is something that we should look into it and all that, and try to see how to help address these issues of insecurity, because for me, it's not serving as deterrent. So my question is, when there's community resistance, what now happens to these repentant Boko Haram terrorists that have gone through all these processes and they have asked to go back to reintegrate into their society? What now happens? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your submission. I quite understand what you are saying, and many people have that same kind of view. I remember one time I read a story in a community where they carried the repentant Boko Haram, and they say carry them to Aso Rock, not to their community. But after some time, the communities were being carried along. Like before the Borno state governor introduced the Borno model, he had a stakeholders meeting. I was with the advisor on security to Borno State government. He said they said that day the atmosphere was heated up. And then he presented them that you don't throw away a baby with the dirty water. That if you don't forgive yesterday's past, you may not have people to play for tomorrow. And in my place, say if you want to plug everything a tree produce, you may not come down from where you climb. And that's where transitional justice comes in. And what is transitional justice? It's a means by which you will be able to make people accountable for their offense, serve past gross human rights abuses in order to facilitate accountability, serve justice, and also achieve reconciliation. If you want to plug everything a tree produce, you may not come down from where you climb. Remember, some of these people are also victims of circumstances. Some of them were deceived. Some of them were captured. And that's why when Operation Safe Corridor came up, the initial decision was low profile, those ones that were not actually, that were victims of circumstances. That was the issue. So what they started doing was to carry the communities along. And if there's one place I know where the people from Operation Safe Corridor are well received, is in Borno State, because the state governor carried them along. He had a stakeholders meeting even before he started the Borno State model. And today, all the people I interviewed that were integrated in Borno, they were not having issues. But before, they were having issues. And that's why the emphasis on is carrying the communities along. We know even our various communities, when somebody commits offense, there is a way you deal with them. We have our local justice system, how you deal with certain issues. So the answer lies on carrying the communities along. And that's why International Office of Migration, they came up with an idea 2-to-1. I was with the head of IOM in Operation Safe Corridor. He said what they are doing is 2-to-1. That for every ex-combatant they rehabilitate in a community, they do similar thing to 2 people in that same community. It's unfortunate the IDPs are being left. It's not supposed to be so. But the emphasis, even when second generation DDR came up, the emphasis is not only to center on the ex-combatant, but also center on the communities. And even our terrorism provision and terrorism Act 2022 had made provision for victim trust fund. But this is it functioning? So we have a lot of things. I quite empathize, I quite see with you. But that notwithstanding, if you want to plug everything a tree produce, you may not come down. We have an instance in Uganda where they wanted Joseph Kony to surrender, but he said he will not surrender until the ICC indictment on him is removed. And if the ICC indictment was not removed, the war continued, and they're still having issue. So those things these are some of the things to take into consideration. When you consider some of them are equally victims, some of them were sort of deceived, believing a wrong thing. And one of the things they're doing in the Operation Safe Corridor is psychosocial counseling and spiritual counseling, giving them the right version of what they believe. And some of them were even victims of circumstances. Some of them were victims of circumstances. I interacted with some of them when I visited there 2024. So in response to this is to carry the communities along. And one of the things they were doing in Operation Safe Corridor is family visits and visitation by the communities. They made them to come, see them in the Operation Safe Corridor, see them what they're undergoing, see what is happening, and some of them buy into the process. So that's just what I have to say on that. Thank you.
Hello,
Thank you for your permission.
Just hold on. Thank you, Major. So, Doctor, are you satisfied? I know other resource person will be talking about this, but Major has made a very important submission.
Yes, he has made a very
Thank
important submission, yeah.
Thank you, Doctor. All right, sir.
Can I speak?
Yes, you can speak now, sir.
May I speak,
Okay.
Sorry,
can you hear me?
let's just like, so it's Mr. Christopher that is talking now, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I'm Dr. Oster Christopher, a retired intelligence officer and a security consultant. I also teach criminology and security studies at the Peter University, Anambra here. Okay, I want to be happy. I meant to say I'm happy to see you again. I've been on your courses 2 or 3 times. So
Thank you,
please,
sir.
Opala,
Thank you.
I know the one thing you mentioned in your first 2 slides. You said DDR is a flexible process that should be adapted to the unique needs of a particular country or region. So my direct question is it really working in the Northeast? Because I have a particular interest in that area in security. That's where my PhD is. So please.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Throw more light.
Thank you very
Is
much.
it working in the Northeast? Thank you very much.
Well, I have not carried out a study on the Boronu model, but from the study of Operation Safe Corridor, I can say that it's effective. Based on my interaction with the ex-combatants that have been reintegrated, based on my interaction with some people involved, I can say that one is effective. But one of the issues that keep on coming up is the issue of recidivism, that those people usually go back. When I interacted with the International Office for Migration, they say nothing like that. I interacted with the security advisor to Borno State government. He said nothing like that. I interacted with Operation Safe Corridor. He said all the ones they mentioned.
Do not use them to charge devices during this flight.
He said all the ones they mentioned and they investigated, they did not pass through Operation Safe Corridor. But when I asked one of the civilian JTF, that one even said that people from Operation Safe Corridor had not been going back. So one intelligence officer in Brunkutu rehabilitation camp, what he told me was that that even people that passed out through that place, they behaved more than people that did not even pass through Boko Haram. That they are not the ones involved, but they could not say such concerning the Boronu model. And as of 2024 that I visited the Operation Safe Corridor camp, they have graduated 2,190. But the same 2024, when I went to Maiduguri and I made inquiries, I was told the Boronu model have passed out that they have 145,000 have come out of the bush. And out of that 145,000, 6,000 were the ones that passed through rehabilitation. So from what the civilian JTF commander told me, he said it is those people from Boronu model that normally go back, but it's something that one need to carry out the research and find out exactly what happened. But from my own research on Operation Safe Corridor, it's effective. Thank you.
Thank you, Major. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Oster Christopher. ACG James, you are on. ACG James is a retired Assistant Controller General of Immigration at the Northeast, so I'm sure his perspective will be very helpful.
Dr. K, are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Very good morning to everybody in the house.
Good day, sir.
I was privileged to be in Maiduguri on the 13th of March 2024 when I was directed by my Controller General, who was also directed by Mr. President to go and open the Niger border. And I traveled by road from Maiduguri to Damaturu. And I met our officers, our operatives working on at their various beats along Maiduguri Damaturu. When I got to Maiduguri to Damaturu, the governor asked me, he said, ACG, you came by air? I said, sir, if I came by air, I would have come through the airport. But I came by road. He said, how? Sir. That's to tell you, ACG, please. ACG. Hello? So are you hearing me?
Yes, sir.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, sir.
ACG, please. I'm moving.
Yes, sir.
Please, I'm just by the immigration main entrance. Sorry. Hello? Dr.
Okay,
K?
sir.
Sir,
Hello?
we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes, so I was just entering the immigration quota, sorry. So when he now told me, he said it was very, very rare for me to have believed that I came by road to Damaturu. That is to tell you how dangerous it was for anybody to believe that these terrorists are friendly. So when it now comes to the issue of rehabilitation, I mean the DDR, and then the issue of somebody being a repentant Boko Haram or whatever, me, even in a spiritual platform, before you become a repentant person, you must confess. How many of them have confessed on the kind of heinous crime they have committed, so that they can now be categorized based on the number of crimes they have committed? Because if you want to pardon somebody, you pardon the person based on the degree of the crime he committed. For me, who experienced a very hectic experience going to see my officers in Damaturu, and I was told the story of what happens to individuals, particularly operatives. That was the time when General Shabu was the commander of Operation Adinkai. I met him there because I visited him in his office, and I told him what I saw on the road. That's the present chief of army staff. What am I trying to say? It is very, very difficult for an operative who was on the field to believe that forgiving somebody who has been against him or who has killed somebody in front of him, and today is saying that he's repentant. What makes the person repentant? Has he confessed on the number, on the kind of crimes he has committed? Is it documented to be able to verify that this is what he has done? And if that is done, then how sure are we that that person is actually repentant? Because for me, I quite believe it's not possible for us to be having the series of attacks we are having at checkpoints, at military operational bases, if there are no insiders. And the insiders must be people that must have pretended to have repented, and then they are now becoming informants to the combatants. So for me, it is a two-way affair. We must be able to verify the actual level of repentance and the crime committed by the person that says repented, if he has actually repented. Then we should also be able to have means of monitoring their activities and movements, because somebody that says repented and returning back to the village, how do you monitor his activities? How do you monitor his movement? How are you sure that he's actually repentant? Because this is very, very practical. So my take about it is that we must not just continue to be giving these people opportunity to say they are repentant and then we're having backlashes. We must be able to have a means of monitoring their activities and their movement, just like they do internationally, so that nobody will tell you he's repentant and is back to the base. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your submission. I quite appreciate it. Let me just add that before any of them is taken to Operation Safe Corridor at Malan City camp in Gombe, they normally pass through the Joint Investigation Center in Giwa Barracks in Medigri, where they will investigate the person's involvement and whether the person is a low profile, whether the person should go there or not. It's only those ones that are identified as a low profile, repentant, or those ones that found themselves as that were victims of circumstances that were sent there. Although later they began to do some other arrangement where some people who were discharged from or who were acquitted by court were also sent there, and some people who they don't have evidences against in the court are also sent there, and some people who have finished serving their jail term were also sent there. And then some people that they have another one, SUHO arrangements, where they will meet some of the commanders and discuss with them. So what I'm saying in effect is that before somebody is sent to Operation Safe Corridor, that person must have passed through the Joint Investigation Center in Medigri. It is only those ones they satisfied as low-level profile and that are sent there. And when they get to the camp also, they pass through a lot of processes. They carry out some tests, assess them, the risk assessment, and so on and so forth, before they are certified and then their graduation. And during the graduation, they renounce all those things. They take oath with Holy Quran, and that they will not go back, and so on and so forth. So all those things are being taken care of. Then on the issue of insiders, yes, you cannot exclude some of those things, but you cannot. Even we know one time, even a president of the nation said that he had Boko Haram in his cabinet. And many people have testified to that effect. So it's not even something peculiar to ex-combatants, it's something that even top government officials. So it's really a very big problem. So, but what they are doing in the Northeast is an international practice. And as I said earlier, some of them are victims of circumstances. There were even some of them are interviewed and they said they had nothing to do with Boko Haram. They were just, that kind of a thing. These are some of the things. So there is a center that investigates them and carry out take the analysis about each of them before they send them to Operation Safe Corridor. That's what I've said. But I didn't study about that Borno model. That thing is something that one needs to carry out a study in order to know how effective that one is. Thank you.
Major, there's so many things to be said. I know there's somebody, the iPhone, your name is not here. Please, you've been raising up your hand. You have the floor, sir, or ma. There's someone with the name iPhone. I can't see your name, but you've been raising your hand. If you're still there, please, you have the floor. Okay. Okay, so please, any other person?
I don't want to bombard the major too much.
Yes, I'm here, please, Mr. Kayode. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Please introduce yourself. You have the floor, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you have the floor, sir. Please introduce yourself. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, my name is Daniel David Kazai. I actually want to put a question to Major Opala about the successes recorded in the radicalization program in the Northeast, where I come from. As much as we appreciate the Nigerian military for the recent displacement of the Boko Haram elements, which is evident by the number of the insurgents that have been arrested within the neighborhood of the Sambisa forest, particularly between Michika, Madagali, Mubi, and part of Gombe. These are fringes around the Sambisa forest. Yes, based on reports we have received recently, quite a number of these Boko Haram members have been arrested, some by the locals, some by the Nigerian security. However, we're talking about the radicalization, just like somebody has mentioned earlier on. The perception of the general public, especially those within those fringes, about this issue of the radicalization is still very, very, I'm rating it very, very low, because most of the citizens around those areas carried along enough. There's no much sensitization or engagement of the local community as to what government is doing about the radicalization, the successes. Because if you are saying you have X number of Boko Haram that have been attacking, and you come out, let's say they say we have about 500 or thereabout number of Boko Haram attacking, and then you see the propensity of their attack, and after some time, we come out and we hear that these people have been displaced. And shortly after that, we start losing our generals, beloved generals who now spend so much to train. And then our own officers, those on the operation field, we are losing them in number, dozens of them.
Gombe wannan kowane
Sometimes one will wonder: is it that these people are being recruited again, or what is happening? I want Major to give us more insight. Why is this recent attack more deadly than what we used to see? Because we have never lost 2 generals within space of just 3 months in the past. So now that we have done a lot in the radicalization, so much resources have been spent, and then now we are losing our refined military officers. What is really happening? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Major, if I can come inside before you answer,
Okay.
I want, because we need to round up this session. Thank you, Engineer. I'm just going to ask, I know there's still the iPhone man, if he can ask this question. Is that okay, Major Okwala?
No problem.
We'll just take all the questions together, and then once we we'll round up this session. So you can go ahead, sir. Please introduce yourself.
Okay, good morning, distinguished members. My name is Ambassador Imuchuma Ojoba. I'm a security expert and also the I want to do we have up till now, considering the seriousness of the insurgents or the problem, the headed problem of insurgency in this country, do we have a clear religious counter-narrative mode or model that is created to de-radicalize these people? Because while I have good knowledge up to this moment to say that yes, a lot has been achieved in terms of de-radicalizing these people, but everybody knows that recidivism always creeping, and these people will go back again to whatever they are doing, whether there is evidence on ground in that regard or not. But we know, obviously, that recidivism sets in. What is the government doing? Have we set out clearly religious counter-narratives, sections, or for lack of words, let's just call it a process. Do we have such process? Because without which you cannot successfully de-radicalize somebody honestly. The wickedness and the evil that is perpetrated by the insurgents has it, if we must go into anything like de-radicalization and reintegration, there must be a clear process. There must be a clear measure. There must be a clear path that assures us that those who are spoken to properly de-radicalize. Because we are talking about a question of clear religious, what do we call it? Okay, let's not go there, because we could make reference to other armed groups and not the rest of them and others. But religion plays role in what people believe and what people think they are doing and what they think they want to achieve, because it is religious based. Do we have a way, a clear cut, not something that's haphazard, clear cut path that is set out, for counter narratives to in terms of radicalizing this? And then when you come to recidivism, what are the models? What are the modes? What are the clear paths that are laid out by government to ensure that these people do not go back to what they are doing? Families are taken into cognizance, work is given, and shelter is provided, and then these people are monitored. If they are monitored, what is the how soon? What is the time frame within which they can summon a particular person? If there is a problem, they can summon him and he reports to headquarters. Do we have a way to track them? I don't know if I'm being heard.
Yes, thank you very much, Ambassador.
I'm coming, sir. I'm coming, sir.
Okay.
Because I have an experience when we were in the field on joint security operations. But after we left where we went to, there was a crime was reported within those same space within short period of time. And what I did immediately, and they were referring, they pointed hands to part of my team. And what I did immediately was to summon my men. I called them and summoned them. I gave them time. I told them, if you don't get to this place this so and so time, it means that you are in so and so place. Believe me, it will take about 2 hours to transition from that point to where we were. But we're able, because I was able to summon my men within a reasonable number given time, we were able to prove that actually my men are not the people in that point. At the end of the day, we were able to track and hold the person responsible for that act. Do we have a clear path to summon these men we say are insurgents that we are radicalizing, that want to reintegrate, in case if we suspect that they want to go back? Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It was a very nice question. Yes, monitoring and evaluation is very, very important. The International Office of Migration, they assured me they have data of all the people that passed through Operation Safe Corridor, and that none of them from batch 2, and that none of them have come back. But can they summon them? Is it part of their destiny? I don't think it's part of their destiny to do so. That should be part of the security. And I think it's part of the missing gap. It's part of the things that we need to really work hard on. Then concerning the counter-religious narrative, they have it. They even showed me. They shared with me when I was in the Malan City camp in Gombe. They shared with me the counter-narrative they are using. So they have that one. But that monitoring and able to call back anytime they want to go back, that one is an area they need, our security agency need to really work hard in. But the Operation Safe Corridor, they said they have the data. Our International Office for Migration, they have the data too. And the ones I interviewed, they say they are doing well. Then the first question before you are on talked about why the increase in insurgency and terrorism despite the radicalization. And a lot of factors may be in place, and it requires one to actually carry out a research because if you say one thing, it may be the other one. It will require one to carry out a research to say, actually, this is the reason why this is increasing. How do we know if the thing would not have been more than that if the radicalization is not taking place? So actually, a lot of factors we can be adduced as a causative agent, and that is more reason why some of those things. One of the things I said in effective implementation is that those things that cause people, the root causes of some of these things should be dealt with, such as religious preachings that are contrary to the normal discipline. So such things should be dealt with. So all government, the religious bodies, the DSS, everybody should be carried along to make sure some of those things that cause people in the first place to get radicalized are dealt with, so that we're not, because they say prevention is better than cure. Concerning the increase presently, a lot of factors may be adduced. Some people even say it's politics, but I can say so. I can say so because those things, there are a lot of things that may be adduced. Thank you.
Major Pala, please, if we can clap for him. I know you can't physically do that because we're online. Major has shared a lot of his experience serving in Sierra Leone, Liberia, and also teaching military and paramilitary officers for many years. Jaji. We appreciate your contribution. General Shafa is ready to present his paper. I know some of you have asked that you also want an experienced military officer and also the pioneer of the Operation Safe Corridor to give his perspective. General Shafa, I will introduce, but before we bring him in, we have a very senior, retired professor of political science from the University of Ibadan and currently research professor at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs. I want us to welcome Professor Femi Otubajo to just give us a brief perspective on this discussion before I introduce our next resource person. You have the floor, Prof. Thank you, sir.
Zoom meeting on the lecture name. Lecture.
Prof, you have the floor if you are available. Okay, just give me a minute. He said he's off, so I'll just get somebody to help him at his end there. But okay, while that is going on, please, if we can just take like 5 minutes break so that General Shafa can join us and make his presentation. That is photo, Professor Femi. Check Femi.
Mr. Kaidi.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is Dr. Steve.
Okay, Dr. Steve, go ahead. Just a brief.
Yeah. While we embark on the 5 minutes break, I don't know. I just want to suggest. I don't know if you already have such plans. I saw that we are about 40-something participants here. I think that is a forum that we can continue to have an ongoing conversation, around what we are talking now, right? I don't know if you have plans to open a WhatsApp platform for members.
Yes, there's a WhatsApp platform. You automatically join. You've actually joined in already by joining in. Yes, so future programs will be shared on that platform. There's a WhatsApp program. Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes, thank you.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello?
sir. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much. My name is Femi Otubajo. I'm a research professor at the Affairs. You can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah. Well, fortunately for me, I've in the last 2 years been teaching a course on insurgency and counter-insurgency at Rivers Open University. And one thing that in my conversation and literature review, is that radicalization is easier said than done. To transform a person from an ideological standpoint or cultural standpoint takes a lifetime. But the focus really of most ideological programs are on removing ideology from somebody's head, put it in a crude way. Transforming, somebody was talking about John trying to let the subject renounce or begin to see its religion. Particularly, most of this extremism in Nigeria are due to ideological radicalization. I mean, religious radicalization. We are dealing with religion, mostly with Boko Haram. No, it's not ideological. So, needs to be able to let them know that their religion is not necessarily of violence. But that's easier said than done. But the key point that I want to make is that I don't know how much of the economics of the radicalization we have dealt with. The radicalization, the goal of the radicalization is rehabilitation. You have to get the people back into society, just like you do for prisoners and so on, that they need to be useful members of society once you have imprisoned and taught them the lessons of life. Now, when you radicalize people into poverty, and that is why we are saying, well, let us know why did they join. Did they join because of ideological belief or because of poverty? Because they were so poor that going to take a job that life expectancy is very low is their best option. The environment that we live in still very fertile for radicalization. So when you say you radicalize somebody and you have not given, of course, the object was to give him a skill, to give him a lifeline. I don't know how much that is happening. I'm not studying the project. I'm not doing this as just off the cuff seminar discussion. The economics of radicalization is the key. If you radicalize somebody and he does not have a place to stay, he is not accepted by society, you're just wasting your time, because the attraction, grass is always greener on the other side. They told us in primary school. It is the attractive other side that he will go to, no matter the amount of intellectual persuasion you give to him, because he has to survive. He has to live the good life. This is the age of the internet, in which everybody knows what the good life is. Everybody's on the phone looking at how people are riding good cars in other countries and living in good condition. They want to be like that too. So I don't know how much of the economics of the radicalization is being taken seriously. Our country's economy is in a bad shape. Poverty has increased. In the last 2 or 3 years, I understand more than 80 million Nigerians have regressed into poverty, below the poverty line. So when you are radicalizing in an economy that's not performing, where do you send the people to? How do you encourage them not to go back to their own way, not to seek these dangerous alternatives in order to solve their problems of poverty? Thank you very much.
Prof. I think this is a very good way to round up the first session. Really want to thank you for your contribution. I know we don't have much time. Usually that's the challenge with this kind of forum. But yes, I want to bring in the next expert, and I'm sure he's the one most of you want to listen to. He's going to be talking on disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration in Nigeria, concepts. Oh, no, sorry, that's not his topic. Rehabilitation, de-radicalization, and social reintegration of ex-combatants, healing, capacity building, and community acceptance for sustainable peace. He is a pioneer coordinator of the Operation Safe Corridor, a well-experienced and retired intelligence officer of the Nigerian Army, former director of operations, Defense Intelligence Agency, and pioneer coordinator of the Operation Safe Corridor, Major General B.M. Shaffer, retired. Please, let's welcome him. General, you have the floor, sir. Thank you, General. You have the floor, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon.
Please, can somebody respond to
Let
him?
me apologize for
You're welcome.
joining up late.
Good afternoon, sir.
You're welcome,
Good
General.
afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
So it's a pleasure to be part of this group. And I just listened to the last comment. I think nothing can be true more than that in Nigeria is to try to deal with the situation that we have in our hands. The concept of DDR or DRR, as the case may be, is known to be a post-conflict peace-building measure. But in Nigeria, it is rather an instrument for combating insurgency. And it is actually directed at low-profile combatants who form the bulk of the fighters in Boko Haram.
Thank you.
And themselves are victims of circumstances. Majority of them, if not all, were conscripted against their will. Some of them joined for survival, for their survival and the survival of their family. And so every opportunity that was available to them to surrender, they exploited it. The insurgency in Nigeria, according to records, started in 2003, around September, about the same time
Okay, I think General Shafa is struggling with his internet because I see he has gone off. Please, if you just give me some few minutes, I'll try to call him and see if we can get him back. Just a few minutes, please. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Hello.
Welcome back, sir.
Hello.
Welcome back. Welcome back,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you.
Mm.
So as I was saying, the DDR program in Nigeria, rather than being a post-conflict peace-building process, it is used more as instrument to deal with insurgency. To deal with insurgency, to reduce the fighting force of Boko Haram by encouraging defection among the ranks, discourage recruitment, and aim at achieving quick end to the insurgent situation. Since the crisis started until 2015, it has been purely kinetic means or kinetic operations until 2015 when Operation Safe Corridor was created. And that program essentially was to de-radicalize, rehabilitate, and reintegrate low-profile Boko Haram fighters who form the larger part of the fighting force and victims of circumstance. Why are they victims of circumstance? Majority of them, if not all, were conscripted. Some joined for the survival of their parents or their own survival. Majority of them have not been exposed to formal education, either Arabic, Islamic, or Western education, according to records available to us in Operation Safe Corridor. So the federal government in 2015, based on intelligence, after the military was able to decapitate Boko Haram, that a large number of these boys are waiting for opportunity to surrender. So the federal government at the National Security Council meeting established Operation Safe Corridor to create opportunity for willing, repentant Boko Haram fighters to surrender and go through a structured de-radicalization, rehabilitation, and reintegration process. After going through thorough screening by a team comprised of investigators from the various security agencies, assisted by United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime, with the representatives of local, traditional, and religious bodies, as well as federal and state Ministry of Justice, and that goes through the DDR program in Operation Safe Corridor. Now, the main issue has been, are they properly rehabilitated? Are they properly de-radicalized? And how is the reintegration carried out? And what has become the faith of those that have been reintegrated? In Operation Safe Corridor, I want to put it on record that it is the first a whole of government, whole of society approach to dealing with insurgency in Nigeria. It is a multi-agency setup. 17 ministries, departments, and agencies are involved in executing this program, with the support, technical support from willing and friendly donor countries, international NGOs, and domestic NGOs. And the program is 24 weeks. 24 weeks. The clients or the ex-combatants go through a 3-phased program comprising initial documentation and advanced profiling, de-radicalization and rehabilitation, and then preparing them for reintegration. These programs are specially designed to ensure that the clients are assisted to divulge the attributes they have imbibed while in Boko Haram and inculcate values in them as well as build their capacity to earn livelihood while we prepare grounds for their acceptance into the community to ensure sustainable peace. So how do we go about this? The first thing is to document them. They go through a panel screening, comprehensive medical checkup to determine their health status. Some of them have been in the bush for a very long time, no care, nothing. They have abused drugs. So they go through comprehensive medical screening conducted by Federal Medical Center in Gombe in conjunction with Operation Safe Corridor Medicals. Thereafter, we capture their biometrics using the NMIC facilities on national data. This is for future reference and to prevent relapsing. Also, we take their DNA samples and have them stored in the Defense Headquarters Laboratory. And then we conduct risk assessment and categorization to enable the experts to handle their therapies according to categorization. And then their images are captured with their background and a photo book is established. Why do we do this? The photo book during recruitment is shared to ensure that none of them joins the military, the police, and other organizations. That is the first step to document them, profile them, and categorize them according to experts' benchmarks. Now, the second phase, which is the key, that is the de-radicalization and rehabilitation process. Like I said, this phase is aimed at transforming the attitude that justified violence and replace them with peaceful civic values, tolerance, and respect for rule of law, and then build their capacity through application of the radicalization therapies and vocational training. Now, what do we do during the de-radicalization? We have about 7 therapies that we apply. The first one is psychosocial and psychological therapies. These are handled by psychologists and experts drawn from Nigerian Correctional Services, Federal Ministry of Health, Federal Women Affairs, and State Women Affairs ministries. Then they go through psycho-spiritual counseling, then art therapies, recreational activities, drug use intervention by NDLEA, and then we introduce them to formal education. And then counter narratives. We also have what we call the counter narrative session, where we bring in a consortium of clerics, both Christian and Muslims, from the Northeast region under the direction of the chaplaincy and Islamic affairs of the Nigerian Army, assisted by the relevant ministries, departments, and agencies. So at the end of this program, the ex-combatants are assessed. The Nigeria Correctional Service have the scorecard. They have their mechanism for measure the level of assimilation they have received in the course of this training. And then they are classified as sufficiently de-radicalized. We should not forget that radicalization, it takes a long process. And de-radicalization takes a long process as well. But with the therapies that we apply, we expect that within the time frame, they should have been sufficiently de-radicalized. And then in the course of integration, how the community accepts them, how they treat with them, a lot can be done to assist them in imbibing good behavior. Now, what do we do to them in vocational training? The essence of vocational training is to develop their capacity so that they'll be able to learn skills so that when they get back to their communities, they are useful to themselves, they are useful to their communities, and they are able to earn living. That is to prevent them from relapsing into violence or going back into the extremist group. What do we do in vocational training? We have almost 10 vocational training that we expose them to. Barbing, carpentry, laundry service, leather works and shoemaking, tailoring, weaving, and then compulsorily, every ex-combatant goes through one form of farming or the other, either livestock or crop farming, because the Northeast, where they are largely from, they are largely subsistence farmers. So we introduce that in addition to any of these vocations that you have picked, you must learn one aspect of agriculture before graduating. And I must say that while I was the coordinator of Operation Safe Corridor, the uniforms worn by the clients were sewn by them under the supervision of instructors from National Directorate of Employment. Some of the buildings that were erected in Operation Safe Corridor DDR camp in Gombe were built by these clients under the supervision of instructors and engineers. These are to demonstrate how much they have imbibed the training that were given to them in the camp. Now, the greatest of all this process is reintegration. And reintegration is very complex in the sense that the dynamics of insurgency in the three frontline states to start with is unique to each state. The dynamics in Borno, which is the epicenter, is different from the dynamics in Yobe and Adamawa. And such, using a blanket measure for reintegration may not work. So what did we do in Operation Safe Corridor? What we did in Operation Safe Corridor was to set the stage. Set the stage.
You mistakenly crash yourself.
Set rules, set responsibilities for Operation Safe Corridor and the state government to follow. Now, at Operation Safe Corridor level, what did we do to guarantee that the ex-combatants that were transferring to the state for reintegration will be accepted? The first thing we do is to convene a stakeholder meeting under the direction of the Chief of Defense Staff, who is the chairman steering committee of Operation Safe Corridor. At that meeting, decision is taken that yes, the ex-combatants could be reintegrated into their states. 2, the next thing we do is that the stakeholders themselves go to the camp. We call it stakeholder visitation, to interact with the clients, to be sure, to confirm, to reaffirm the briefing that the experts have given them during the meeting, and then report back to their states, ministries, and departments. Stakeholders are drawn from all the 17 ministries, departments, and agencies, and the states that have ex-combatants in Operation Safe Corridor. After that, Operation Safe Corridor embarks on sensitization and advocacy visits to all the states, where Operation Safe Corridor interacts with the state authorities, interacts with the religious leaders, traditional rulers, and have stakeholder meetings, town hall meetings with relevant stakeholders across the states, where we explain to them what the program has been, what the clients have been exposed to, and solicit their support and solicit for the acceptance for the ex-combatants to be integrated into society. Now, there's a clause there where there is reason not to accept some client into their community. The room is there for the state to reintegrate them into other places for their safety until when reconciliation has been achieved. After that, we also get the states to nominate prominent personalities cut across senior government officials, traditional rulers, religious leaders, to visit the camp and stay minimum of 1 week. The essence of this visitation is to enable these prominent personalities to identify the clients from their respective states, interact with them, develop confidence in the program, and be able to report back to their state authorities and to their various communities what they have seen and prepare minds of the people for receiving the clients or the ex-combatants, as the case may be. The essence of this is to foster reconciliation, build confidence, and prepare ground for eventual reintegration. Then another program we also do is family reunification. At the initial stage, we have collected their backgrounds, and through our machineries with the security agencies, we trace parents, we trace their family members, and invite them to visit the camp. For every family member that we trace, When they are coming to for the program, they are accompanied by their community leader. The reason is to ensure that, yes, these are the true relations, and to also enable the traditional rulers, the local authorities in the community to take ownership. Because in northern Nigeria, largely is communal. The living is communal. And we are not oblivious of the control, enormous control that community leaders have in their community. So when parents come, they are accompanied by the community leaders. You need to be in the camp when this family visitation is taking place. That is when you know that no matter how bad a child may be, the parents will always have that soft spot. You need to be there. Highly emotional. Highly emotional. Now, what we also do, all this that we are doing is in conjunction with our development partners, Northeast Development and the Northeast Development Commission. Then what we also do is we embark on community service. Any community where more than 5 clients will be reintegrated into, we conduct survey of what are their immediate needs. And then through the Northeast Development Commission and our development partners, civic projects are identified that we do in these communities. We drill boreholes, we renovate schools, we conduct free medicals, and so on and so forth. This is to develop confidence, in the people, and to also let them know that, oh, the whole effort is not just targeted at enhancing the perpetrator, so-called. We do that. Now, in the course of our interaction with the religious and traditional rulers, their concern is how genuinely are these boys being de-radicalized. And they made a demand. The demand is that they want them to swear oath using the holy book, Quran for Muslims, Bible for the Christians among them. We have a few of them who are Christians, surprisingly. Now, we took this demand back and we think through it, and we felt, look, you should not just bring them to come and swear Quran, to come and listen. So anybody can carry Quran and just swear. So what we did was we formalized the process. We got the Federal Ministry of Justice through the Chief Justice of Federal High Court to set up a quasi-judicial panel. This panel is headed by a judge of Federal High Court of Gombe, where our camp is domiciled. And then we have members, religious leaders, traditional rulers, senior government officials from the states, Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe, as members. Then we have a lawyer from the defense headquarters, and then a senior judicial officer from the Federal Ministry of Justice as secretary of that panel. What does this panel do? The ex-combatants appear before the panel. They renounce their membership of Boko Haram. and swore oath of allegiance to the federal government of Nigeria and made a commitment that they will not return to Boko Haram. And in the event that they return and they are captured, they will be liable to an offense against the state. And then sign an affidavit that is in the record books at the Federal High Court in Gombe. Why Federal High Court? The Terrorism Act, or terrorism, as the case may be, is a federal offense and triable by a Federal High Court. Now, after that, we also have foreign ex-combatants. We have a few of them from Niger, Cameroon, Chad, and what have you. So we liaise with their embassies in Nigeria, together with Nigeria Immigration Service, to facilitate their return to their countries. And then, through the assistance of National Emergency Management Agency, Northeast Development Commission, we arrange a relief package for them to last them for the transition period of about 6 months. By the time they are graduating, the federal government, through Northeast Development Commission, provides them what we call the starter packs, tools for them to use for the various trades that they have learned. The design is that because of the limited time they were in the camp, they wouldn't probably have not been expert enough in the trade they learned. The design is that they will continue, they are to continue the vocational training in their various states' vocational centers. By then, they would have been properties, they would have been, their state authorities would have assumed control over them. So that is what we do. And then Operation Safe Corridor also facilitate escorts when they are moving from Gombe back to their respective states, so that we don't have ambush and hijack on the way to discredit the program. So that is what Operation Safe Corridor does to set the stage for reintegration. Now, what do we advise the states to do in accordance to the dynamics that exist therein? The first thing we advise the state is that they must appoint a senior government official that will liaise with Operation Safe Corridor on regular basis. We don't want Alhaji Shehu to come this meeting and then next tomorrow is Ajia Mimuna. There will not be continuity. So we advise them that you must appoint a permanent rep in Operation Safe Corridor for continuity. That will ensure. And then they attend all meetings, stakeholder meetings, and what have you, as conveyed by the Chief of Defense Staff. The state authorities must nominate prominent personalities to visit the camp. It's compulsory. And then they must establish a reception committee. They must establish a reception committee. It's not an ad hoc something. There's a reception committee, and they must establish a transit center, reception center, where the boys will arrive into, from where they will be moved into their communities after reconciliation, negotiation, and what have you with the community. And we advise them that the reception committee should be composed of traditional, religious, community leaders, and what have you, to receive and ensure the reintegration. Now, what do we do after the reintegration? In conjunction with the implementation partners, Northeast Development Commission, and relevant ministries and departments and agencies, we embark on what we call follow-up program. In any communities where more than 5 clients is reintegrated into, we visit these communities. We want to know how the boys are faring. We want to know how acceptable have they been. We want to know what are the activities. This will enable us to assess the level of success of the program. Now, what do we do during this follow-up program? We meet the traditional rulers in that community, we get a briefing from them, they tell us their perception, they tell us the assessment of the conduct of the clients. We meet community leaders, and then we meet security agencies that are deployed in that community, particularly civilian JTF. They also tell us how they have seen the boys, how they have been doing in the communities, and what have you. Then we meet the boys themselves privately. They also share with us how the community have related with them since they have arrived in the community. I must say that while I was coordinating Operation Safe Corridor, in all the communities that we visited, it was success story all through. Now, what happens to those that are now up to 5 that are integrated into other communities? Don't forget that I will say the state authorities were advised to hand over the boys to their community leaders. So all those that are reintegrated into other communities, we bring them, we advise that they should be brought to the Bulunkutu Rehabilitation Center in Maiduguri, where we interact with them the way we've interacted with the other ones in the other communities. This has helped us to assess the program and how well the program has been. To the best of my knowledge, I'm not saying that Operation Safe Corridor is perfect, but I'm not saying that there's never been any case of recidivism. But what is my concern? My concern is how many of such cases have been reported or recorded, and what is the percentage of those that have gone back, if there is any, in relation to the percentage of those that are still remaining in the community. Those that are remaining in the community are far more than those that may have gone back. And that suggests that the program is working. Yes, it's not that we do not have challenges. A lot. Our first challenge was perception, unfavorable public perception for the program. My first encounter was, is it the right time to conduct a program of this nature? Is it not supposed to be at the end of the war? And I asked them, when will the war end? This war started when I was a young major By the grace of God, I rose to be a major general. I retire 5 years, almost 5 years now. The war is continuing. So if we have not put up this program, meaning that we will continue to fight this war. I must say that since the inception of Operation Safe Corridor, over 3,000 low-profile ex-Boko Haram fighters have been rehabilitated, de-radicalized, rehabilitated, and reintegrated back into their communities within and outside Nigeria. And there has not been adverse report according to their conduct. Now, we also saw deliberate attempt to discredit the program through peddling of falsehood, negative narratives. Oh, they are being recruited into the military. Oh, they are doing this, they are doing that. Even this discredit of the program, we even see some very senior elected representatives making all these allegations that they cannot prove. What we do to take care of this is to embark on effective strategic communication, to correct perception, to educate them, to educate the general public that, look, we must put in measures. It cannot be war, 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 war all the time. We need to bring in other measures to complement the effort of security forces' kinetic operations. The dynamics of insurgency is complex and multinational, multidimensional. So we must introduce other means to help to diffuse the tension. We must bring other means to address the situation. All over the world, insurgency is never won purely by kinetic operation. It is a combination of kinetic and non-kinetic means that brings about the defeat of the insurgents. And that is exactly what we have done. So we embark on a lot of strategic communication. We do jingles. We had press conferences. We grant visits for people to the camp to go and interact and see what we are doing. And we embark an aggressive advocacy into the communities. There is no state that in the less Taraba that Operation Safe Corridor did not visit. And the reason why we do not visit Taraba is because there were no cases of Boko Haram. They had their own issue, but no Boko Haram in Taraba State. Then we also encountered, when we started, delay evacuation of the rehabilitated client by the states. Yes, when our first batch graduated, it was during election time, and the state government felt that, look, I can't combine this with my election, so that my opposition does not use it against me, and or they don't use it to campaign against me, and we understood that, so we kept them. Immediately after the election, they accepted their client. Some states that were not of a political party as the federal government also believed at the time that, oh, it was an APC program. So let the APC people handle their program. But we were able to convince them. We were able to convince them that, look, this is a federal government program to deal with the situation across the states. As a matter of fact, Gombe State, where we were using, as at the time we were using it, the governor of the state was a PDP person. He accepted us, he gave us the facility, and he championed the discussion with the other governors to accept the program. And the states concerned, they embraced Operation Safe Corridor, and I can say today that they have accepted the program. There is no state in the Northeast today Is it Bauchi? Is it Gombe? Is it Adamawa? Is it Yobe? Is it Borno that has not embraced Operation Safe Corridor? I am yet to see one. So those are the challenges that we encountered. And then I want to say, to also put it on record, that Operation Safe Corridor does not confer amnesty on the ex-combatant, rehabilitated ex-combatants. So they are yet to be pardoned by the state. And as such, they are not eligible for recruitment into the military, paramilitary, and other armed bearing services. The federal government is yet to pronounce pardon for them. So they are not eligible for recruitment. And that is why we make their data available during recruitment exercise to fish any one of them that may want to infiltrate the recruitment process. At the end of the war, it is because pardon is the prerogative of the president, commander-in-chief, or the executive governor, as the case may be. So, with this, I want to say categorically that no Boko Haram that has gone through Operation Safe Corridor and documented has been recruited into the Nigerian army or any other service, as the case may be. Yeah, we have achieved a lot. First and foremost is that, like I said, it's the first multi-agency, non-kinetic humanitarian activity in Nigeria. Countries in West Africa, Lake Chad Basin, even in larger Africa continent, they have come to see what we are doing here and they are replicating same in their various countries. So Operation Safe Corridor DDR program is a focal point in DDR in Lake Chad Basin and across Africa. It has drawn local and global attention. Anytime we do graduation, you see for weeks, that is what you see on the media, and it's good for us. It's good for us. Only letting people know that there's something going on. And then exponential increase in the number of people that we're taking. We started with 6 people. Today, just last month, I think they graduated 747 or thereabout. That is average of 1 per local government, I want to say. And then we have been able to capture the accurate data on national data for variable, for verification, for record keeping, for future reference and what have you. I think is an achievement. And every client that goes through Operation Safe Corridor is given a national ID. He has a national ID, he has a national ID number. So that also helps us to track them. And then one other thing that we have also done is that there has been a lot of academics that have come to see what we are doing and to aid their research works. That is, we have contributed to academic knowledge within and outside the country on the effect of DDR program as a tool to depopulate insurgents. They've come and they've seen. Now, what are the prospects? The prospects are visible. Borno model has led to thousands of surrenders. It's a consequence, is premeditated on the framework of Operation Safe Corridor. Yeah, the states must have added some dynamics for the uniqueness of their own problem, but it is from Operation Safe Corridor that idea came out. Now, states are beginning to imbibe this program. Kano, for instance, has just established Kano model, Operation Safe Corridor, to deal with the peculiarity. We have also established Operation Safe Corridor in the northeast and northwest to deal with banditry, looking at the peculiarities, the dynamics of banditry in the northeast and northwest, and borrow from the ideas of Operation Safe Corridor Northeast. We have established it. The camp is already in Zamfara. Duse, what's the name of this village again? Sorry, it's in Zamfara there. And the dynamics is that each state will have to establish their own reception centers and establish committees that will receive and transfer and receive the ex-combatants as the case may be. I think last week or a few days ago, Kaduna established their own committee, which was a very laudable achievement. And then I know that there's a thinking to have the same thing replicated even in the southeast, where we're having IPOB and all the rest. So our program in Operation Safe Corridor, to conclude, is carefully designed, methodologically implemented to ensure that the ex-combatants go through therapies that will heal them from those negative vices they have imbibed while in Boko Haram, that will correct their medical condition. For those who have terminal diseases, at least we have been able to draw attention to them and refer them to appropriate medical facilities even after this thing. We ensure that we give them a vocational training to build their capacity to be able to work. That is where we are talking of economic reintegration. And the trades that we teach them in Operation Safe Corridor are trades that we find that they do well in the communities where they are going to. And I must say, from the records that we got during our follow-up, a number of them were doing well. In Goza, for instance, Goza used to be the caliphate headquarters of Boko Haram. There's a barber shop there that's owned by a former Boko Haram person that went through Operation Safe Corridor. As at 2021, when I was leaving Operation Safe Corridor, he has employed people in Goza that are working with him. That is creating economic development in that community. During COVID-19, former Boko Haram members residing in Maiduguri constructed hand basin machine and hand washing machine that they distributed to communities in Maiduguri. During that is contributing to economic development, especially in a period where there's pandemic and everybody was trying to put in one idea or the other to ensure safety of people. And then we ensure that we do not just carry people and go and dump on the community. We do advocacy. We visit state authorities, we visit traditional rulers, we talk to stakeholders, we engage in reconciliation where there are reasons for clients not to be accepted into the community. We don't force them on them. We settle them somewhere or possibly keep them in the Bolonkotu Center or the reception center until while the ground is safe, the people are ready to accept them. And we also encourage one-on-one reconciliation using this Hulu approach of the Muslim Islamic religion. So on this note, I want to say that Operation Safe Corridor DDR program in Nigeria, as established by the federal government, is well conceived to ensure peaceful return of the people, of the clients back into the society, and to ensure sustainable peace. Thank you and God bless.
Oh, thank you, General Shafa. Again, I'm sure a lot of people are clapping. We can't see us doing that physically because everybody's video can be on at the same time. This is a very broad description, historicizing the creation of Operation Safe Corridor and also the methods and procedures of getting the clients of treatment and also of reinsertion and reintegration. I think there's no better way to say this. I know before you join us, there's been a lot of questions. Major Edwin Opala have been able to answer quite a few of them, but I don't want to recap what General said. I think it's as clear as it can be. I would like to take us to make contributions, suggestions, and particularly if we have questions for clarification and something that can also add to the literature that we already have on Operation Safe Corridor. I know we have a couple of professors on this platform, retired generals, doctors, retired security stakeholders, people that are well known that have joined us. It's just to indicate the interest in this particular subject. So the floor is open. Please indicate that by raising up your hand or the way it can go. I'll moderate. So you have Caroline Bishop to open the floor. You have the floor, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Kindly permit me to rest on the protocol of this meeting. I'm sorry, some of us had to join from another meeting, but I'm glad I was able to follow substantially and hear what the last speaker had to say. The Major General retired, I want to guess. And I am, well grounded, and updated on what happens at the Operation Safe Corridor, what the project is all about. I just wish this knowledge can be somehow, made wider or more open to everyone, every Nigerian, every person. I know in a certain cycle, it's common knowledge that this is what they do. But if we get to begin to hear this constantly, or more people having the opportunity to learn, I guess it will make a difference. I listened with excitement, curiously, and I have heard of the prospects that he has said that this operation now has, how other states are, trying to replicate what is going on in the Northeast and all of that. And that is good and correct. I just keep wondering. I have some questions and some observations. I don't know how you will take them. I'll try to narrow them as best as I can. So I want to ask, first and foremost, apart from
Sorry, Caroline, I don't want to interject, but if you can introduce yourself, it helps the resource person to know how to answer. Just like the organization we represent. And
Oh, okay. I'm a lawyer. I'm calling from Jos. I don't know if that suffices. I'm calling from
that's
Jos.
okay.
Yeah.
I think from Jos. That's sufficient. Okay. Yes. This clients of the project. Is there anything, because I see that when they go through this training, you do everything to capacitate them and then give them a vocation so that when they come, they're useful to themselves, the society, they can fend for themselves and all of that. My concern is this: before they surrendered, these are persons who have been exposed to, would I say, a high life. You see a lot of monies, a lot of aspirations that they have. And I went through what the Major General was saying. You come back and you rehabilitate them to learn probably carpentry, masonry, and some of these humble jobs. Are they satisfied? Are we sure that they would be able to sustain themselves based on these humble, vocations alone and all of that? That is one. Two, do they have any personal projects demanded of them, to bring value to that same community or somewhere, by virtue of the fact that the reason why they are being rehabilitated is because they have caused one violation of the other, or caused communities, to scatter and all of that. Is there anything they do apart from the fact that it is the same people driving, or the same government driving this project, that comes to drill boreholes for the communities, come to start to try to elevate the communities? What do they personally do? I know that our youth corpus, for instance, you go for youth service, you are expected, other than what you do, to at least bring a project to the community in your own name and person to show that you really want to leave a legacy. So other than what the government does to elevate the status of the community, that is, if the community is even still standing to accept and rehabilitate them, what do they do on their own? Coming back from this project, what do they do to empower the community? I also heard the issue of amnesty, and I was listening carefully. You said, yes, the whole aim is to bring them back, to integrate them into the society. And, rehabilitation vis-a-vis the issues of prosecution, because you said it's not as if their sins are now forgiven. What is the place of prosecution? Is it that when they come back, then I heard the Ministry of Justice is on this, they now get picked and then some of them get prosecuted? Are there any records, or do they just come back and they're integrated back into society and then all of their sins are forgiven? Or, they are not integrated into the army or any of the armed-bearing forces? Is that all there is to that? Because if there is an offense, then there is a law that should be followed all through. What happens to that? My other concern is that I'm happy that the government of the day, whether state or federal, is bringing up this. And then I'm happy that the last speaker has said that there is an exponential increase in the number of the clients that are enlisting voluntarily into this. They now give them ID cards and they really integrate them back into the society. What happens to the victims of their crimes and offenses before they surrender? What happens to those communities? Some are in IDP centers, some have lost even their lives. What project? I know some are in the IDP centers. Do we go through all this for them? Because I think it's two sides of the coin. If you are rehabilitating the man that caused the trouble in the first place, and he is now coming back into society, the victims and all of those persons who are affected should also be taken to a similar thing. I think they even need it more. Some of them are not even alive by virtue of the act or inaction of some of these persons. And Jamiti, like I said, I'm a lawyer. I did hear about the review committee powered by the Federal High Court of the Gombe Division, and all of that. And the beautiful things they're doing, the data, the sworn affidavit, and the trainings and all of that. I did not hear, I don't know if the NBA is a member of this, because if I listen very well, I stand to be corrected. All of the members of this committee are either from one society or the other, or are from a government-backed agency, the Ministry of Justice, blah, blah, blah. I didn't hear any pressure groups being mentioned, like the Nigerian Bar Association and all of these ones. Shouldn't they have a seat on that committee so that it will be balanced? Or maybe that is a recommendation, as well as, I don't know, a suggestion and all of that. And that it should be more open. The very name of the program being an Operation Safe Corridor. The word corridor means you're doing something by the side. I think it should be more publicized. Let there be more eyes. Let us see what is happening. Do they give quarterly reports? Is it to the public? Who accesses this report? Or is it the security agencies and all of that, so that everybody knows what is going on and where to come up? I think I would want to, so that others will say a thing or two. Let me pause here for now. If there's time, I have like over 10 things to say, but I want to appreciate you for this opportunity, so that possibly others can contribute to the discourse. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline.
Can I respond to this?
Okay, so that's, you prefer
So
that
that
way.
I don't mix things up.
Okay, it's all right.
So my dear learned colleague.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Let me appreciate you for the interest you shown, and to say that you keenly listened to my presentation, and I appreciate it. I will start from publicity. Yeah, when we started the program, we were a bit careful because we do not want to expose the camp to attacked by Boko Haram. So we're a bit secretive. But as time goes on, when we started developing, um, um, when we start gaining public support, public confidence, then we increase our publicity. Like I said in the course of my lecture, over the last almost the entire month of March and April, there is hardly any week there are no conversations on Operation Safe Corridor. It's also designed like that so that people will get to know. I know the Secretary of Operation Safe Corridor appeared on Arise TV where she gave a lot of thoughts about what the program is all about. I know there was a program on Defense Radio where the coordinator and some other people were interviewed. So what I'm trying to say is that there's a lot of publicity on Operation Safe Corridor. But you see, I'm sorry to say, uh, uh, I see there's a there's a portion of the section of the society that are averse to the program. So they get to talk more about it. But I think I can tell you that Operation Safe, yeah, there's need for us to improve on it. There's need for us to make it more visible, no doubt about it. I would take in your recommendation to have a civil society organization in the judicial panel, MBA to be member. I will pass that to the coordinator, and I believe by the time they are writing report of this seminar too, that can come up in the recommendation. Yes, you talked about victim. What happens to the victims? The focus of Operation Safe Corridor is actually on low-profile combatants. But we are not oblivious in Operation Safe Corridor of the concerns of the victims. And that is why within our limited scope, we embark on community service using Northeast Development Commission platform and then our implementation partners to do the little that we can do within limited resources. That notwithstanding, the federal government of Nigeria, the state governments have a lot of activities going on to take care of the concerns of the victims. But the problem has always been efficiency of this program. It's the efficiency of this program. NEMA is there. Do you know how much federal government donate to NEMA, gives to NEMA to provide relief material, to do rehabilitation and what have you? Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, so many of them. Don't forget that the federal government during Goodluck Jonathan established Victim Support Fund headed by General T.Y. Danjuma that later transformed to Presidential Committee on Northeast Initiative. So there are so many programs going on there. There are so many. If you get to know what the UNDP is doing, you'll be surprised. But the problem is efficiency. Operation Safe Corridor, how much is the budget of Operation Safe Corridor? If I tell you the amount Operation Safe Corridor gets, you'll be shocked when you compare the money with the amount or the level of job they do, you'll be shocked. So I think it's the efficiency of those programs. That is why it's not fair. And through Operation Safe Corridor, channels who have reported this, and I believe the federal government is looking, taking measures to correct that. You talked about prosecution. Now, the people that Operation Safe Corridor are handling, they are low-profile ex-combatants that have surrendered and denounce Operation Safe Corridor, denounce Boko Haram. And they've also gone through screening by a panel of investigators. So, before they come to us, it means there are not been any evidence that suggests that they should go through criminal justice. But I want to say here that every Boko Haram that is captured, every Boko Haram that is arrested goes through a criminal justice system. Last week, or about less than a month ago, there was a trial that happened here in Abuja by a special court where over 300 Boko Harams were convicted and sentenced to various jail terms. This has always been, if you Google it, if you Google trial of Boko Haram, it has started since 2019. And I can tell you categorically that today, almost 1,000, if not more, Boko Haram have been prosecuted and sentenced to various jail terms. Even when we started the trial, the Terrorism Act has not provided capital punishment. That was why in 2019, when the first trial happened, there's a boy there that attracted 60 years imprisonment. It was because the Terrorism Act that time had not provided capital punishment. This time, there has been an amendment, and capital punishment is provided for act of terrorism. So I want to believe as time goes on, based on, you are a lawyer, if the prosecution is able to prove its case beyond reasonable doubt, the judge will actually decide, it will rule based on evidence before the court. So that is that. I want to say that there are prosecutions of Boko Haram fighters. And if you are captured, they are not eligible to Operation Safe Corridor. Now, you talked about what do these boys do in the community? What do they do themselves? What do they do themselves? Yeah, like I mentioned to you, we embark on community service. And what we do in some of these things is that we get the boys to engage in where we are doing all this community service and what have you. Yes, some of them, like I mentioned, during COVID-19, there are a few of them in Maiduguri put themselves together and constructed this machine for washing hands that during the 2019-2020 period of COVID-19. It was well publicized. So they do something. Don't forget that these boys too, they are low profile. They are some of them, you need to see them very, I don't know how to describe them. So what we give them, if with the assistance of the social support from the NGOs and the support from their state authorities, I believe they'll be able to start a living. They'll be able to start to, at least they can wake up in the morning and go somewhere and do something. Yes, say they are exposed to high life. Are we going to satisfy them? Yes, for the high profile Boko Haram, nobody can satisfy them because of the life they live in the bush. But these boys themselves, the life we introduce them to in Operation Safe Corridor has been the best they've lived. Some of them since they were born. I'm not being exaggerating. So, and they prove to us that they are satisfied with what we are giving them. We pray that the federal government should be able to do more. So I want to believe with this my response, I've been able to answer your queries, my learned colleague.
Thank you very much, sir. You have done justice to it. Permit me, before I just, maybe you should have helped me. Maybe you should help me define this terminology you've been using, low profile Boko Haram, perhaps to help me understand more. And then finally, I wanted to ask, is there an expiring date for Operation Safe Haven for this project? I mean, so
Safe
that it
corridor.
doesn't, yes, look like a window for somebody that wants to commit an offense, knowing that, there's a saving line somewhere, that if I do this, I can go and surrender and I'll be taken care of. And at the end of the day, I'll come up and possibly even be given amnesty or something, so that we don't keep it as a breeding ground. Is there an expiry date? And
Now,
maybe
let
final
me
recommendation, sir.
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Madam. Let me tell you that once you go through Operation Safe Corridor, you are captured in Operation Safe Corridor data, and you decide to cross to the other side, just remain permanently there. The moment you come back, you'll be detected because your biometrics, everything has been captured. And don't forget that while on the program, you have sworn oath of allegiance and commitment that you have denounced membership. And if by any chance you go back or you commit an offense, you'll be charged. So it's not a guarantee. Oh, I've gone to Operation Safe Corridor. You go inside the bush today, you come out. The moment you are arrested, the moment you are captured, and they try to document you somewhere, and the flash out say you have passed through Operation Safe Corridor, that person will be reclassified and sent for prosecution. That's the condition. That you have gone through Operation Safe Corridor is not a guarantee. And that is why I said in the course of my presentation that going through Operation Safe Corridor does not confer amnesty. It only confer on you certain privileges of being reintegrated back into the society and enjoy civil living.
Okay, General. Okay,
Yes.
I'm just thinking there are so many people that may want to ask questions, and because of time, it's also Friday.
Yeah.
If we leave Barrister Caroline, she already told you she has like 10 more questions. So, if you don't mind, sir, I would like to invite Dr. Stevens to make. So I also have Didi Shire. Dr. Steven,
Yeah.
are you available to make your comment? Question. You
Yes,
have the floor.
I'm very, very much available. Yeah. Good afternoon, General.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Steven.
Yes, my name is Dr. Steve. I am security consultant and I also lecture at the Nigerian Army University, BU.
That's good.
Yeah. General, you have said a lot. You have taken us through a roadmap, right? And I must have to commend you for, first of all, being the first coordinator of the Operation Safe Corridor. Now, I just want to say one or two things with regards to what you have said. Now, I'm aware that they have three categories of ex-combatants in the Operation Safe Corridor policy. You have the non-associated persons, then you have the low-risk associates, then you have the high-risk persons. And from what I know, your Operation Safe Corridor deals with the low-risk associate persons. I mean, these are people that were conscripted into the insurgency extremist operations by Boko Haram elements. And you see, most of these ex-combatants, they surrender. And number one, I don't know if the surrendering is willingly or maybe because of the power, the pressure that comes from the military, when they are being confronted with, that makes them to surrender. So one of the questions I want to ask is that, do they willingly surrender, or they surrender because of the power, the pressure, the fight that the military put on them while in the forest or wherever they find themselves? Now, another thing I want to say is that, I don't know, I know you are aware of the law that has to do with the Terrorism Prohibition and Prevention Act. Yes, if you look at Section 12 of the law, it talks about terrorist meetings, having meetings, right? As in, if the person that is having such a meeting knowingly knowingly arranges, manages, or participates in a meeting or activity connected with terrorism, provides logistics, information, equipment, or facilities for such meetings, or attends a meeting meant to support proscribed terrorist group, commits an offense, and is liable upon conviction to imprisonment for a term of at least 20 years. Now, that's the section of the terrorism provision act that talks about that. Minimum of 20 years. And now when you look at these low-risk associates that goes through this process of rehabilitation and all that, end up becoming repentant Boko Haram, they have done worse than just this section of the terrorism provision act that talks about going to jail for 20 years. And if you look at these low-risk associates, there's no way you can tell me that they did not either kill or committed one thing that is worse than just mere attending meetings or arrange meetings and all that. And the punishment in the act says 20 years minimum in prison. And here we are categorizing them to be repentant Boko Haram. So is that not a conflict in the whole idea? People that have committed the act are being exempted from punishment. Because for me, when crime and punishment, they go like hand in hand, or they go together. Crime and punishment. It's a situation where these people have committed this kind of crime. At the end of the day, they go through a process of rehabilitation. At the end of the day, you empower them to go back and reintegrate into the society. And we are talking about people that just merely participate, not in the act per se, but just merely having meetings. At the end of the day, what you are entitled to is minimum of 20 years in prison. So I just want you to help me understand that certain persons that have actually committed the act, ravaged communities, killed people, at the end of the day, they are now categorized as repentant Boko Haram elements. Then the law now says just merely attending meetings and all that. And once it's established that you attended a meeting in regards to acts of terrorism, not necessarily participating, you are liable to 20 years in prison. Then there's a comment by Gerald Buratai. I watched him on China's television, where they asked him question about this Operation Safe Corridor policy. And he said that it was a government decision and not that of the army to rehabilitate repentant Boko Haram. So make me understand his statement here, because from what I understand, if left for him, I don't think he will agree or want to have a policy such as that, because he said it was a government decision and not that of the army. So make me understand what Buratai is trying to say in that regard. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The international law of war give room for surrender. And the law says that where a combatant surrenders, he must be treated humanely. It's a standard. So, whether a combatant surrender as a result of pressure, or he come out on his own, he's tired, and he raise up his hand, he surrender, he has surrendered. And the law says that if you accept him, you must treat him humanely. But because of the sensitivity of the war we are fighting, we must put some level of human face to it. That is why even when they surrender, they go through a screening process to determine whether there are evidence of commission of heinous crime by them before they are transferred for the rehabilitation program. Like I said, even while you are in Operation Safe Corridor, if there is any evidence that come up, you are withdrawn from the program. You are disqualified, you are reclassified. Even while you are in Operation Safe Corridor, you exhibit traits that are shown that you are not sufficiently de-radicalized. You are reclassified and sentenced and sent for prosecution. So, We need to bring this war to an end. We need to reduce tension, and the federal government has the prerogative in line with national security priorities to design programs that will bring about this. And that is what Operation Safe Corridor is all about. Yeah, General Bratai was my chief of army staff.
Okay, I think we lost General Shafa. I'm sure he's having problem with his internet. I'll try and give him a call and have him restore. But just to also inform our stakeholders, we'll try and round this meeting up in the next 10 or 15 minutes. We may have another program, maybe in another 2 weeks or 3 weeks, just to conclude, where we'll have people from the National Counterterrorism Center, Office of the National Security Advisor, and also the Partners Against Violent Extremism make their contribution around this program so we can have a robust discussion. And then I'll make my own presentation also. But give me another 5 minutes. Let me check what's going on with General Shafa's internet, and I'll get back to you. Thank you. Okay, so General Shafa will join in about a minute. He had a network issue. Just we'll arrange that in a minute. He will join us. General, sir, you have the floor.
Hello.
Yeah, you have the floor, sir.
Yes. Thank you. I had the network fluctuation. Are you hearing me now?
Yes, sir. Please, can
Yeah,
somebody
Dr.
address
Steve.
me? Okay.
Hello.
I'm here, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
We can hear you, sir.
Yes. General Bratter was my chief of army staff, and he was a member of the steering committee for Operation Safe Corridor, because the instrument that established Operation Safe Corridor have him as a member of this National Steering Committee, along with other six chiefs, his General of Police, DGSSS, the Chief of Defense Intelligence, and then the governors of Adama, Borno, and Yobe State, and then the the CGA chairman of the shoot. I would have said the same thing, because his force has the capacity. But the question is, for how long are we going to continue with kinetic operations? There has to be a mix of both kinetic and non-kinetic to fight insurgency. And that is what the federal government has done by establishing Operation Safe Corridor. It is not direct creation of the military. And I also want to put it on record that Operation Safe Corridor, the key aspect, the critical aspect of that program is led by civilians, components of the program. Or what Operation Safe Corridor, the military and security agencies does in Operation Safe Corridor, to provide leadership for efficiency and provide enabling environment for program to take place. The radicalization, the rehabilitation, the vocational training, they are handled by the civilian component of the program. Hello? Hello?
Hello, we're here, sir.
Okay. So that's what I want to say regarding the comment my former chief of army staff. I listened to that program very well. I listened to that program. I monitor him on the channel. I watched it, and that has his position even while we were in service. Even with that, he granted me access. There is no time I seek audience to brief him on what is happening on Operation Safe Corridor that he didn't grant me access. Though as chief of army staff, he will say the best option, and I will tell him, sir, we have accepted him as surrendees, and we must abide by the international code. Hello?
You can go ahead, sir.
Hello?
I think we should just take the General. I think we should just take the last lecture, and so we can round up. Didi, you have a question for General.
Yes. Good afternoon, General. My question, I'll just go straight to my just two questions. My name is Shaya. I'm a criminologist, and I'm a PhD of leadership of strategic studies NDA.
Didi, there's a feedback from your speaker. Can you maybe mute something? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so you can go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I want to ask, sir. I don't know, is it still echoing, sir?
No.
Okay, thank you, sir. To ask, after reintegrating them back into the society or the community, how long does it take them to be supervised or watched over before they are eventually left?
Thank you very much. I think that's a very difficult question to answer. But I think that's a very difficult question to answer. But measures we put on ground, the measure we advise the state authorities to employ is to ensure continuous monitoring of the former combatants. Don't forget that ideology is a thing of the mind. So it cannot just go overnight. And that is why we encourage that the reintegration should be communal. That's why we discourage individual handling of the fighters and former fighters to their parents directly. We hand them over to authorities that can put measures in place to monitor them. We have measures through our implementation partners. That's why we have psychosocial support that they provide for them based on their own program. All these are to monitor them, believing that if the people in the community also show to them love, acceptance, then they will totally forget this whole idea. But to say, it's 1 year, 2 years, that may be very difficult to say. But the measures we put in place will ensure continuous monitoring of the clients.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. My second question is, does the Operation Safe Corridor cover also kidnappers and bandits, or is it just for Boko Haram members? I don't want to go far. I just want to ask straight questions. So I want to know, sir.
Operation Safe Corridor Northeast is essentially for Boko Haram former fighters, low profile. The one in the Northwest is targeted at bandits.
I think that's a straight answer also, Mrs. Didi. I want to, on behalf of everyone on this platform, to appreciate Major General B.M. Shafa retired for the effort that you have put in establishing this Operation Safe Corridor alongside your colleagues from the different military, paramilitary, and MDAs. I know these questions will continue until there's clarity and until both our academic community, civil society, and also military and paramilitary agency understand the need and are all supportive. I want to thank all the stakeholders that have been part of the lecture series. Our plan was to actually have a 40 minutes each for a session, but because the program went this way, it's an interesting program, and I'm sure some of our stakeholders still have questions. This platform is live, and our resource persons are also on the platform.
What's he saying?
Our resource persons are also on this platform, so the conversation can continue on the platform. But I promise in another 2 weeks, we will be able to reach out to our resource persons, especially those that have not been, those that could not speak because of the time, and also the NCTC to hear what the Office of the National Security Advisor is doing regarding this. I want to, on behalf of the Peace Building Development Foundation and the Eldership Board of the Peace Building Development Consult, I want to thank our partners and friends for making this a reality. This is something we want to continue. at least every 2 weeks to bring current issues on board for all of us to look at it. And for those of you that know us, you know that we can reach senior government officials to extend some of the recommendations on this platform, which is what we have been doing for many years and will continue to do. Please encourage more participation so that more people can gain knowledge through this platform and also share their experiences so we can all learn together. I really want to appreciate you. Thank you, Major Edwin Opala, retired. Thank you, Major General B.M. Shafa, retired. Thank you for all of you that have contributed, and those of you that have also sent your submission to us online. Everything will be attended to. Thank you, and have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sir. Beautiful program. God bless you. We're most grateful.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir.
Bye-bye, kid. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you,
well
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Bye.